A reading from the Gospel according to John. When Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. And he said, "Where have you laid him?" And they said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" And Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. And Jesus said, "Take away the stone." And Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, "Lord, already there is a stench, because he has been dead for 4 days." And Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" And so they took away the stone. And Jesus looked upward and said, "Father, I thank you for having heard me. I know that you always hear me, but I have said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me." And when he said this, he cried out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" And the dead man came out, with his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. And Jesus said to them, "Unbind him, and let him go." The word of the Lord. Well, everyone, we did it. We are at the end of our season of saints at St. James Cathedral here in Chicago. We have had a remarkable few weeks here, handful of weeks here, where we have been studying the lives of so many saints, many of whom I'm sure you hadn't heard of before. I hadn't heard of some of them before. And it was remarkable to hear some of their stories and to learn some of how they lived their lives and how we might pattern ourselves after some of the lessons that we got from them. And so now here we are at All Saints' Day, a way to mark the end of our season of saints by really saying it's not the end of the season of saints. We get to live all of our lives learning about the saints, studying how they lived, studying how Jesus Christ moved through them to shape this world and to shape our church. And in so doing, learn our own way in which we can, in our own sainthood, in our own little sainthood of our own lives, seek to learn from Jesus, seek to grow, seek to shape our world and to shape our church. And while some of us, many of us, probably won't ever end up in the calendar of saints that people will be worshiping on some day of the year, what we can do is we can be the kind of people that hand this church and this world off better than we left it, better than we received it, rather. We can be the kind of people who take this world and say, for the time that it was entrusted to us, we cared for it, and we did the best we could with it. And now we hand it on to the next generation. When we celebrate All Saints, we aren't just remembering those saints that raised people from the dead, those saints who had great miracles. We're not just remembering those saints who valiantly gave up their lives. We're remembering all the saints, all the little saints, everybody who every day took one step, did one thing to leave this world and this church better than it was. And we can be just like those people. And in so doing, we are a part of the great cloud of witnesses too. So let us be like Jesus in this story, who was deeply moved for the needs of humanity. Let us be like Jesus, who sought relationship. Let us be like him who called to breathe life and hope into this world, to proclaim resurrection for this world. We can do that not just because we are saints, but because Jesus Christ himself is the one who leads us and guides us and strengthens us to be the church in the world today. Thanks be to God. Amen.